SOMNIPHOBIA.
History is full of vanishings that were never solved. Roanoke is one of the oldest. 9 days after his granddaughter's birth, the first English child born in the Americas, the colonists sent their governor home for supplies, promising he'd return in 3 months. War kept him away 3 years. When he came back, the houses were gone, the ground dug over, and on a weathered post, in clean capital letters, one word: CROATOAN. No cross beside it, no bodies anywhere. These events would become known as the Lost Colony of Roanoke, and its governor never returned. The story we return to this time begins with a failure, the one that came before the disappearance everyone remembers. Because Roanoke Island had already tested English hopes once and found them wanting. In 1584, scouts sent by Sir Walter Raleigh explored these barrier islands and sailed home with 2 Algonquian men aboard, and England had found the coast, but not yet a way to live on it. The following year, a military colony under Ralph Lane settled the island, and it collapsed within months. Supplies ran short, and relations with the Roanoke people soured until English soldiers killed their chief, Wingina. None of it would survive him. By the summer of 1586, the colony had collapsed entirely, and Sir Francis Drake, passing the coast with his fleet, carried the survivors home to England rather than leave them to a people already turned against them. A year later, in the summer of 1587, a different kind of expedition landed on the same shore. Families this time, led by the artist and mapmaker John White, a man in his late 40s, newly appointed governor. They had come to stay. They did not yet know how completely this island would test them, and within 3 years, every one of them would be gone, without a single sign of struggle left behind. Among the arrivals was White's own daughter, Eleanor Dare, 19 years old and expecting her first child, and the colony she stepped into was raw, half-built houses on cleared ground. On August 18th, 1587, Eleanor gave birth to a daughter, and they named her Virginia, the first English child born anywhere in the Americas. Her birth entered into the written record by her own grandfather. 9 days later, the colonists urged their governor to sail back to England for supplies, and before he left, they agreed on a signal: carve their new home's name into a post if they moved inland, and cut a cross above it if driven out in danger. White said goodbye to his daughter and to the granddaughter he had known for 9 days, promising to return within 3 months. He would not see them again. White reached England as war broke out with Spain, and Queen Elizabeth seized every ship she could find for the Spanish Armada, and his promised crossing stretched from months into years. 3 years is a long time to leave a promise unmet, and by the time White finally sailed for Roanoke again, his granddaughter would be turning 3, if she was still there to celebrate it. On August 18th, 1590, his granddaughter's 3rd birthday, John White's ship finally came within sight of Roanoke Island. 3 years, almost to the day, since he'd last stood on that shore. What he found on shore was not the settlement he'd left. The site was now enclosed by a high palisade of felled trees, very fort-like in his own words. No one answered when they called. The houses were gone. Not fallen, not burned, but taken down, deliberately, board by board. And whoever had done this had not fled in panic. They had packed. On a tree near the entrance, White found letters cut into the bark. These fair Romaine letters, 3 of them, C-R-O. An abbreviation, or perhaps the start of a word he hadn't found yet. Then, on a post 5 feet from the ground, in clean capital letters, and exactly as they had agreed, White found the rest. CROATOAN. No cross above it, no sign of distress anywhere around it. That could only mean one thing. They had moved, and moved safely. White would later write that he greatly joyed at the sign, but nearby, his own buried chests told a rougher story. Dug up, broken open, his books torn loose and scattered in the dirt. White meant to sail on to CROATOAN Island, 50 miles down the coast, the one place the carving pointed to. But a storm rose before he could make the crossing and drove his ship back out to sea. He never reached it. The storm carried him home. He never set foot on Roanoke again, and he never learned what had truly become of his family or the rest of the colony. Roughly 118 people had gone into that island and come out as 2 words, and what actually happened to them would be argued over for the next 400 years. Years later, leaders of the new colony at Jamestown put a name to a suspect. Captain John Smith and Secretary William Strachey both wrote that the chief, Powhatan, had ordered the Roanoke colonists killed. None of it was ever proven. No massacre site was found. No mass grave, no remains. Nothing in 4 centuries of searching has confirmed it. Others imagine Spanish raiders responsible, but Spanish records show Spain did not even know where Roanoke was until well into the 1600s, long after the colonists were already gone. The best explanation arrived in stone. In the 1930s, inscribed rocks began surfacing across the Carolinas, each supposedly carved by a survivor. Most now call it a hoax. Whoever carved them knew the story well enough to convince, not well enough to survive scrutiny. A massacre no one could locate. A forgery convincing enough to fool a generation. The real answer, if there was one, would have to come from somewhere else entirely. Of all the explanations offered across 4 centuries, one has aged better than the rest, because it does the least explaining. It says, "Believe what they carved." The theory holds that the colonists did exactly what their signal promised, moved in with the CROATOAN and other native communities, and over generations became part of them. In 1701, the explorer John Lawson visited the Hatteras people and reported several had gray eyes and claimed their ancestors could talk in a book, could read. It's the most prosaic reading of the evidence, and for years it had almost nothing to stand on. That changed in 2012. Researchers studying a map White himself had painted, the Virginia Pars, found a small patch of paper hiding a symbol underneath. A fort, inland, near Albemarle Sound. They called the place Site X. 50 miles southeast, at Cape Creek on Hatteras Island, once the CROATOAN town center, diggers have recovered English metalwork of their own. In April 2025, they found buckets of hammer scale, the flaking waste of iron forging, a craft the island's native inhabitants never practiced before the English arrived. Taken together, the evidence points not to a single vanishing, but to a scattering, the colonies splitting apart and blending into the land and the people already living on it. Not an ending, a dissolving. No mass grave has ever contradicted the gentlest reading of this mystery, and no document has ever fully confirmed it either. What this case asks of us isn't belief, only the patience to keep reading a word that was never explained, only carved, clean, without a cross. Don't be afraid. It's just us. Subscribe.